Welcome back to In the Can. We're going to be talking about the film Compliance, and director Craig Zobel, actor Ann Dowd, and Pat Healy are here to talk about this film. So thanks all of you for coming in. It's a big day for you. The film premieres just in a a couple of hours.
It does.
Yeah.
Moments away.
Well, thanks for fitting us in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
So when I was reading about this film, I recognized the story right away.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing this story a couple of years ago on a news magazine program, and it stayed with me because it's such a creepy story.
Yes.
Honestly, I mean, that's what, like, I didn't discover the story until about a year ago, like after kind of a lot of people had heard of it, and it's to just catch people up. It's like it's about this fast food restaurant where people are working on a busy Friday night, and the police call and tell the manager, played by Anne, that one of her employees stole from one of the customers, and that the police basically kind of enlist her help to detain the woman until they get there. And the story, is based on a true story that I didn't actually discover until about a year ago, but it stayed with, like you said, it stayed with me because it's a pretty crazy story. Yeah.
So you heard about it and just thought, I need to make a film, because there's a lot of internal questions when you hear this story that just make you go, what would I do? So
that's a great point. What would we do?
Yeah, and is that what intrigued you to make the film? Or are those questions?
Absolutely. I mean, like, literally, I didn't plan on doing this as a project when I first saw it. It wasn't something that, but like weeks later, I was still thinking about it and still reflecting on it, and it was kind of like, it's the sort of story I would say that, like, at first that you think of it, you hear about it and you think, that couldn't happen. But then, like, something about it, I feel like also was very much like, but some part of me understands that it probably could. Like, I do see.
Yeah.
When I first read it, that's exactly the feeling. I thought, that's what was unsettling about it, is I thought, what if I had been in that situation? What would I have done?
Right. So to give a little bit more information about the story, so the manager who you play gets a call from the police saying, this gentleman, the police, and says, the employees, we've caught her stealing from a customer, you need to detain her. And what's interesting is the manager has that gut instinct, something's not quite right, about the phone call, and then you kind of go through a series of questioning, what do I do, how do I handle this?
I don't think at the start, because so much has gone on and there's so much happening on a Friday busy night, and plus the freezer was left open, and I know I'm going to hear about that. So she's not in a state of really, I don't think she quite questions in the beginning. I think as time goes on, it's just a question of, should I do this? Is this all? Plus my manager, my district manager, is supposedly on the other line, and he has said that I will help out. So I'm not questioning the authenticity of this man on the phone. I just think as it just begins to, one step leads to another, and
that's what the film's exploring. One step leads to another.
And it was also exploring just kind of how, I mean, Pat and I worked a lot with, like, talking about how you convince someone of something in small degrees.
Yeah, and you play a total creep in this film, right?
I do,
a really, really creepy guy.
Yeah, I'm a very nice man in real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
So
it is really against type.
The script was interesting because it was like, I read the story and I go, or I see the story on TV and I go, that couldn't happen. So then what I thought Craig did was, the script is an examination of why. We really can't fully know, but just he felt like he wanted to find out, and sort of asking those questions and sort of creating these situations, It's, in a way, it's not one thing. It's sort of a perfect storm of, it's busy, people don't have time to think, the guy is convincing. There are some interpersonal dynamics going on between the characters that...
And your understanding of what makes these people tick, like you get Sandra quickly. Wants the approval, loves to be Deputy Sandra.
Gets people to give him information by saying leading things.
And the fiancé coming into it would never have dreamed of what's going to happen in 2 hours.
It goes like in totally different directions that you would think of.
And the film, it's titled Compliance, and it really, people have this innate want to comply and to follow authority and do the right thing, and so it explores that as well. let's take a look quickly, because we're talking a lot about this moment where you get the call from the police officer, and I think that's what we're going to see in the clip. So let's take a quick look at the film Compliance. Okay, there we go. That was a quick look at the film Compliance. We saw you, Anne, in the film. We heard you, and that was the other actress, Dreama. What's her last name?
Dreama Walker.
Walker. So how difficult is it to act out a scene with just a voice on the phone? Were you actually on the other line, or how was that?
Yeah, what it was a set, two sets in the same building. My place where I am, and the manager's office of the restaurant, and live telephone. So everything is actually us on the phone talking to each other.
Made all the difference in the playing of it.
Right. I would imagine that would be difficult to be pretending that you're hearing this happen on the other line.
If we ever had a problem too with the phones breaking down and I had to go in the room and do it live, it was very uncomfortable for me. You realize it's much easier to do.
Yeah.
Without seeing their faces, and
But also, just the sound of your voice, Pat, it's dead on.
Very soothing.
It's soothing.
Very soothing.
And it's
it's creepy when you said
in the midst of all of this, he's calming you down.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing.
And it was interesting when we were watching that clip, I could actually hear the studio saying, "No way, you wouldn't really do that," when he said, "I need you to search your purse." And actually they're like, "No way, no one would really do that." And that's that's what I'm hearing in my ear from the control.
I mean, that's
room.
what it is. That's what I did when I heard the story. I couldn't really fathom it, and I mean, like, this was in a lot of ways an exercise about, like, well, okay, it's true, it really did happen. It happened 70 times over the course of 10 years.
70.
This same like event happened in different places. Well, we don't know. I mean,
maybe some copycat people out there doing the same thing.
You said something interesting. Oh, sorry, don't mean to.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just like, it's what's interesting about it is that it is unbelievable, but it's clearly happened.
You see the steps where it actually becomes believable.
And that's what we tried to do with the movie, you know?
Yeah, you were going to say, Anne?
I was going to say that you said something interesting, which was that we all kind of want to comply. I actually think we come in the world not wishing to do so, and that is sort of beaten out of you, that natural ability to use yourself as the authority on your actions. And as time goes on, you lose that. Certainly Sandra has.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. So we've mentioned many times that this is actually based on a true event, or several true events. Have you spoken with any of the people that this actually happened to?
No.
Did you feel like that was an important part, or did you purposely not want to?
In some ways, I didn't want to invade them. It's something that kind of happened to a lot of these people, and I'm fascinated with the behaviors involved, and I took from several kind of different cases, and at least in part. So I didn't, I didn't want to kind of. I'm sure it was a very traumatic experience for these people, and it wasn't something that I wanted to like invade them. I'm more interested in like the conceptual aspect of it.
Yeah, interesting. I think that's interesting.
And plus, when you see the 2020 or whatever news program that was, you see exactly what you need to see.
Yeah.
You don't need. I don't think you need to go any further.
You can kind of Wikipedia this and like see
and find it.
And you get it.
It's all recorded on the security cameras.
Yeah,
too,
it is,
so
and I remember seeing that, which is
deeply unsettling.
Did you watch that before you played?
No, after I finished.
After. So you came up with this.
I didn't want to be influenced by it in any way, since we are telling a fictionalized story. I mean, it is based on these events, but it isn't. We should say it isn't that story in particular. But I wanted to come up with something wholly original, and I wanted to find out. I think do the same thing that Craig did, which is let's investigate while we do this. Why? And we were discovering things all the time. There's one little psychological thing is the pleasure and pain responses. If he yells at her and he's mean to her, then it's okay, sweetie. It's like she feels a relief from it, and then she's much more willing to do the next thing that he asks her to do.
Yeah, in that clip you heard, him accuse her, and then he said, "Give your manager back the phone, honey," or something, endearing like that, and it's just a really creepy conversation.
Yeah, that was like really written really well that way to figure out, but we were also always just figuring out ways that we could do that to make it more convincing.
Because we did it a number of ways. A lot of the scenes in the shooting of it.
To see which felt more authentic, or why did you do that?
I mean, this isn't a movie that the plot kind of relies on like going on a big adventure or anything like this. This is about like very small changes that happen in people's like relationships and very small things. So we were constantly looking for like what that right next one would be that wouldn't be too absurd or too crazy and would like kind of hit what made sense. What was at least identifiable as like I could kind of see myself getting this much farther into this situation.
So the story kind of evolved as you were directing it. You maybe had an idea of what was going to happen, but then you had moments where you tweaked the dialogue, or
Absolutely.
you know, that's interesting.
Almost
that
every day. Almost every.
And
day.
even after we shot, you know, when we were in post, and I was in California and Craig was in New York, I had some, because it's my voice on the phone was easy as to, if something
Change
wasn't
things
quite
later.
working.
Change something
Yeah,
later.
so I got
Yeah.
on the phone and recorded some
No,
stuff.
we did it all perfectly from the beginning.
From the start.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, don't give away secrets.
But you know, as we continued to shoot, the story and the characters sort of have a life of their own. You know, the more you shoot, I don't know, it becomes clearer what works and what doesn't.
Is that a process that you as an actress goes through, and you as well, that you? I'm not an actor, so I'm always wondering if you are able to step into character day one, or if you come to know the character as the day goes on and start to actually understand intuitively what that character would do in that moment.
I think it's both. I mean, you do have an idea, but it does grow as each day goes on.
And if you have a
Yeah.
wonderful director who will, you bounce it off of.
Say more things.
Well, I'm sorry, he's the worst to give any compliments to, so I'm going to move on. But that's what's helpful, is that dialogue back and forth. And we had a very good sense of her,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you.
Absolutely.
And we
did
got
that.
to shoot it mostly in sequence as well, so.
It helped the story evolve. Yeah.
But I think on the first day, you're just hoping and praying, you know, because you can have all the thoughts you want about it, and read it and plan it and so on, and then you're on the ice and it's suddenly a different thing. But we had rehearsed a few times,
yeah.
and that was very helpful.
Good. And I just have kind of a general question. Whenever I watch a movie with a character like yours, that's, you know, I would hope, and this is kind of going back to the film, would be a complete departure from my own character. How does that affect you as an actor playing that type of role?
It was really the most difficult thing that I've ever done, without question. And I watched the film, and I've been saying this, and it's true, and I've never said this before, I don't really recognize myself very much. And they always say the actor has to find, you know, like the person they're playing, and I didn't find that to be true at all.
That would be a hard thing.
I think it would make sense
to do.
that this person, since he seems to hate humanity, probably doesn't like himself very much. So I think it's okay to play
it's very true.
it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
That being said, we did find things that, as we went on, particularly towards the end, where he would be, quote unquote, having fun with it, this awful thing. But
So does it?
I kind of threw
go ahead.
him into this. Pat and I worked on another film that was at Sundance in 2007, and I knew that it was like going to be a difficult role, and I called him and like sort of leaned on him to be like, I know this is going to be a hard one, but like, will you have? Because it is a trying.
it wasn't anything I went in going like, oh, this is going to be great for my career or anything
Right.
like that.
So did you take it on as a challenge, or
Yes,
what was it that was
absolutely, a
intriguing?
challenge, a
Okay.
challenge.
The challenge of
And
it.
we always do these challenges with these. The other film was a very difficult, you know, project that was much more pleasant, but it had challenges, similar challenges in it. They're great films, but they're experiments, you know, and
Yeah.
they're sort of games that we play, you know, and discover things, you know, as we do it.
Yeah. Did you have a freak out moment where you were like, I'm really good at being a really bad guy?
We told
You're
him
really
that
good at that.
regularly.
I think I would
Yeah.
cry a lot when
Yeah.
I want to go home and stuff.
Yeah, and be like, I don't want to have this role anymore. I
Yeah.
wanna, yeah.
It
move away
was
from
just, you
this.
know, it was, you know, and I was
Interesting.
isolated too. I was in a room by myself while everybody else got to work together, which is, you know,
Yeah.
most of the fun at acting is being with other people and interacting with them, which I really didn't get
Wow,
to do.
so it was a very challenging role.
Yeah.
Well, the work is done.
I know, now we're
That's
here.
Now you can be
great.
yourselves and
Yes.
just enjoy the festival. Again, the film is premiering today, so you've got
Today at
to
11:30,
get on your
the library.
Yeah, you literally have to get on the road very quickly so you can make it. I'll let you guys go, but thank you. It's really fun to have cast in
Thank
and
you.
get to hear. You've been given lots of compliments, so well done, and best of luck today.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming
it.
Thank
in.
you.
Thank
We'll be
you.
back with more In the Can right after this.